From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It's Wednesday, December 30th, and right now on Good Morning Indiana. The second round of economic stimulus payments is now on its way when you can expect to see the money hit your account.
We should never have been excluded in the first place. I can't imagine someone saying that, my kids don't deserve it just because their dad's illegal.
Mixed status families did not qualify for stimulus payments the first time, and some say they were punished because of who they married. WRTV Investigates takes a look at how the new aid bill changes that and the impact it has on our economy.
I think we will continue to see less influenza and RSV and other respiratory viruses compared to years past.
The pandemic is changing what illnesses kids are contracting this winter, what parents need to know this morning.
Good Wednesday morning to you and yours. Thanks for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana, the last Wednesday of the year, Lauren.
Oh my goodness,
wow.
I cannot believe it. We finally made it here, and it's a storm team alert day. Raphael, I filled Megan in on your situation. Sometimes when you live in sort of a floodplain, these days make you a little bit nervous. So she's aware now that that's why we give you a hard time.
But this is the only time of year, Todd Clausen, that I am awaiting the rain so that we can wash away 2020. Goodbye, 2020. Come on, rain. Come on.
We're going to see quite a bit of rainfall here today, Raphael, and that's why you saw behind you and behind Lauren there, it's a WRTV Storm Team Alert Day, alerting you to just not any old ordinary day when you can get on about. You have to do something different, and that's grab the umbrella or the rain jacket. And there's probably going to be enough rain for some decent puddles as well, so the rain boots might be a necessity as well. Pretty good band of rain here in Delphi this morning. Rain in Logansport, light in Lafayette, heavier downpour just south of Peru, but this is all rain. That's the good news. There's a little bit of mixed precipitation here in northern Indiana, but as the storm system comes through, it's going to bring the temperatures up even further. But this rain will move through from west to east across the state. It's a steady rain once it starts in your neighborhood. The rain stretches all the way down into parts of Texas, so we deal with this throughout much of the day, but as the rain comes in, it's bringing the temperatures up. As I mentioned, we're in the 30s and 40s, well above freezing now in all locations. Temperatures will drop suddenly, though, as we get into the evening hours once the front goes through, but that's probably not until after sunset. So until then, it's just plain old rain. Grab the umbrella. Temperatures eventually climb up to right around 50 degrees. This is just the first of two storm systems that head our way. The next one arrives on New Year's Day. More on that, Lauren, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Well, the roads are pretty dry right here. Heading into the downtown area from the north side, I-65 and 30th Street at this hour, where everything's traveling smoothly, as you can see. No major delays to slow down your commute, but of course, we'll keep you updated. Megan?
Thanks, Lauren. Well, those long-awaited stimulus checks are finally going out. The Treasury Department says direct deposits began overnight, while paper checks will be going out today. Still, there is a battle in Congress over larger payments. ABC's Avery Harper has the latest.
This morning, another stimulus stalemate is taking shape in Washington as Americans begin to receive a second round of economic relief. The Treasury Department says direct deposits could have arrived as early as last night, while releasing more details about payments for Americans who qualify. $600 for individuals, $1,200 for married couples, and up to $600 for each qualifying child. It all comes as a measure to bump those stimulus checks from $600 to $2,000. It's a major block. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell blocked two attempts from Democratic senators to bring it to a vote on the floor. But McConnell added that the Senate will begin a process to bring three priorities to the table this week: the possible repeal of liability protections for social media companies, election integrity, and potentially the $2,000 stimulus checks, all Trump demands. But how the Senate will actually proceed is still unclear.
Those are the three important subjects the president has linked together.
After McConnell blocked the vote, Trump tweeted this warning, quote, "Unless Republicans have a death wish, they must approve the $2,000 payments ASAP."
I don't agree with Donald Trump on much, but even a broken clock has the correct time twice a day.
And Democrat Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer urging McConnell to act.
Leader McConnell holds the key to unlocking this dilemma.
If you don't see a stimulus check in your bank account this morning, be mindful those checks just started going out last night and will continue for the next week. If you don't have direct deposit with the IRS, paper checks start getting mailed out today. Avery Harper, ABC News, Washington.
We are tracking another developing story this morning. The Labor Department says President Trump's delayed signing of that COVID relief bill should not impact unemployment benefits. The measure includes an extra $300 federal boost in weekly payments for workers collecting unemployment benefits. And that will last for the next 11 weeks. That delay in signature could cause payments not to be posted on time as states like Indiana work to reprogram their systems. But the payments, here's the good news, are retroactive to the end of November, and claimants are expected to receive the funds due to them. Again, the benefits go all the way through March 14th. Lauren?
And Raphael, I want to go to a grim milestone now. Indiana has set a new single-day record of newly reported COVID-related deaths. On Tuesday, state health officials reported 164 coronavirus-related deaths. The previous record was 143 deaths. Most of the state's newly recorded deaths occurred in the past week, with some of them dating back to early December. Since March, 8,051 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. Now that includes victims with both confirmed and presumed infections. State health officials also report more than 4,000 new cases of COVID-19. That means we now have more than 500,000 positive cases recorded across the state since the start of the pandemic. The 7-day positivity rate is now up to just over 14%. And as cases here continue to rise, we are keeping a close eye on hospital resources. As of this morning, 2,951 Hoosiers are hospitalized with COVID-19 or a suspected case of the virus. Those patients are using about 30% of the available ICU beds in our state. Just under 25% of the ICU beds remain available across Indiana. Health officials also report about 69% of our state's ventilators are still available for use. Raphael.
And Lauren, every single morning we share with you the latest information on COVID-19's impact on our state. But this time of year, there are other illnesses like RSV and the flu that are cause for concern, especially for Hoosier children. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson, she joins us live this morning with all of the details. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So here at Riley Hospital for Children, as of yesterday, there have been no confirmed cases of RSV or the flu, which is very odd for this time of year. We spoke with Dr. John Christensen with Riley Hospital for Children, and he says that's thanks in part to masks, social distancing, and hand washing. While this mirrors what was seen in the Southern Hemisphere, the medical director of infection prevention says it's very unusual to not see any cases of RSV by this point in the season, as well as for flu cases.
I think we will continue to see less influenza and RSV and other respiratory viruses compared to years past. However, sadly to say, we're going to be seeing a lot more coronavirus in the weeks to come. The holidays have been problematic because a lot of people, instead of staying home, have been traveling. So there's going to be a lot more transmission of coronavirus. So I think we're going to see a lot more coronavirus in not only in adults, but also in children. So I think we need to brace ourselves for the next month.
Dr. Christensen says Riley is seeing a record number of coronavirus and multi-inflammatory syndrome in children admissions. MISC is the rare Kawasaki-like illness found in children, and Dr. Christensen says the numbers, quote, have blossomed here at Riley Hospital. Now, there are now 21 confirmed cases of MISC at Riley, with 3 or 4 more cases still under review. And he's urging parents to stay vigilant as those severe symptoms as we get into this respiratory season. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Good reminder for parents, Kelsey. Thank you. Now we know this year New Year's Eve celebrations are going to look a little bit different. And now the Marion County Health Department has put out its own COVID-19 guidelines. No new curfews are being imposed here for New Year's Eve, but all restaurants, bars, and establishments that provide in-person food or drinks must close indoor dining and drink services and clear out customers between midnight and 5 a.m. Carryout will still be allowed. The health department also said that staying home or participating in virtual celebrations is still your safest choice this year. Now up in Fishers, the health department is taking some similar steps to limit public New Year's Eve celebrations. Indoor drinking and dining there is restricted from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. through January 8th. Megan?
Well, Lauren, a local family is sharing their story getting left out of the first round of stimulus payments. Coming up, why they feel they were discriminated against.
And as we go throughout the day, rain will continue to overspread the area. In fact, it's raining already in some western locations. It's going to turn out to be a pretty wet day for everybody all across the area. In fact, it's pretty much a guarantee it's going to be raining in your neighborhood throughout much of the morning and into the afternoon hours. We'll break down today your New Year's Eve forecast and look ahead to another storm system on New Year's Day coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues on WRTV.
Welcome back. So the Rebound Indiana is our effort to help you and your family get through the financial impact of the coronavirus pandemic. We know it's a lot. And so this morning, a local family is sharing their story with us after getting left out of receiving the first round of stimulus payments.
WRTV's Investigates Kara Kenny reports that some families believe that they're the victims of discrimination.
Victoria Hernandez lives in Plymouth, Indiana. She's been married to her husband, Jose, for 6 years, and they have 2 children together. The entire family did not receive a stimulus check earlier this year.
I kind of got this gut-wrenching feeling like, I don't think we're going to get it.
They are a mixed status family. Victoria is a citizen and Jose is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico, living in the U.S. since he was 6 years old. More than 100,000 mixed status families like the Hernandez family live in Indiana. The federal government excluded mixed status families from the first round of stimulus checks, meaning American citizens did not get the money because of their spouse's legal status.
We should never have been excluded in the first place. I can't imagine someone saying that, my kids don't deserve it just because their dad's illegal.
Back in May, WRTV Investigates introduced you to other Central Indiana women, American citizens who did not get stimulus checks because of their partner's immigration status. Mixed status families fought back. They contacted their representatives, and some filed lawsuits against the federal government. It made an impact. The newly passed relief package now includes stimulus checks for mixed status families like the Hernandez.
Kind of surreal. I don't know. I guess I'll believe it when I see it.
Undocumented immigrants are still not eligible for stimulus payments, but this time, U.S. citizens and green card holders will be eligible to receive at least $600, as well as an additional $600 per dependent child, even if they filed their 2019 taxes with an undocumented immigrant.
I think everyone will be very thankful that they're listening. And just appreciate the fact that they've included families like mine.
U.S. Congressman Andre Carson tells WRTV, "I'm pleased we are making progress in righting this wrong. We shouldn't be playing politics with people's lives and livelihoods. All Americans have been hit hard by COVID-19, regardless of their citizenship status, and they all need support." Katie Rosenberger is an Indianapolis immigration attorney and says our entire economy benefits from mixed status families receiving stimulus checks.
This could be a huge help to catch up on rent, to make sure that food's on the table, to pay for childcare.
Rosenberger says the vast majority of undocumented immigrants in our community are working, paying taxes, and working toward becoming U.S. citizens.
It takes a year and a half, 2 years, sometimes longer. It's costly.
Jose works in construction and his visa application is still pending. The Hernandez family plans to use the stimulus money to put in their savings for any unexpected bills. They're grateful to Congress for including mixed status families this time around.
And I hope that if it ever goes further, that they keep us in the loop with everything, just because we're just as deserving as the person next to us.
Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
Kara, thank you so much. Mixed status families may not receive the full amount if the couple earns more than $150,000. Also, under the newly passed COVID-19 relief package, mixed status families are eligible to collect on those stimulus checks made available all the way back in March of this year. On this Wednesday, Todd Clausen is looking at a very active radar. Good morning, TK.
Yeah, we're dealing with rain across parts of the area here, Raphael, and it's only going to get more widespread as the morning goes on. So here are your headlines on this WRTV Storm Team Alert Day. The rain moves in here this morning. It's steady for everybody throughout the afternoon hours. Then this evening, rain for most of us. Some areas could switch over to a little bit of light snow shower activity with very little in the way of snow accumulation. Temperatures here all across the area are well above freezing. In fact, we're starting to see more and more 40s this morning, so not bad temperature-wise at all, but more importantly, everybody's above that freezing threshold. So as this rain comes in, it's mainly just, in fact, it's all going to just be plain old rain. And you can see the coverage here as we work our way throughout the morning. It's about 70 to 80%, and then it ramps up. Everybody will be seeing the rain by 11, 12 o'clock. Here's the current situation on radar. The rain has now made its way into the Peru area, pushing into Marion, Kokomo, down into Lebanon, Boone County. You're seeing the rainfall currently. Covington, Crawfordsville to Rockville, inching closer to downtown Indianapolis, as well as the Bloomington area. The further south and east you are, obviously it's going to take a little longer for the rain to make its way into your area, but look how far it stretches down to the south. All this is going to make its way up into our area during the course of the day today. Let me walk you through it hour by hour on TrueCast. The timestamp up here in the top right-hand corner of your screen. The rain's making its way through the area by 9 o'clock, almost raining everywhere. We get a push of heavier rain that comes in towards the noon hour with some pockets of moderate rain. Not expecting any thunderstorms, but outside of any heavier downpours, it does turn a little breezy throughout the day today as this front works its way through central Indiana. The winds could kick up to about 20, maybe 30 miles per hour in spots. And then once we get into the afternoon hours, you will see the rain come to an end in northern locations. For those of you in southern locales, though, the rain hangs on longer for you. In fact, it lingers almost into the evening hours, and there is a little bit of snow on the backside of it. If you do see snow showers, I think the roads are okay. There could be some minor accumulation, a half an inch to less on grassy areas. Once we get into the evening hours, though, the temperatures do drop, and that's when we see that change over to some snow shower activity. And then once we get into the overnight hours, temperatures do drop below freezing tomorrow morning. There won't be anything falling from the sky tomorrow morning, but if you do have to work tomorrow, get out early, and just know that there could be some slick spots. We're going to see a lot of moisture out there, so there could be some refreezing, especially watch those bridges and overpasses. And then tomorrow's a chilly day with temperatures only in the mid-30s. A second storm arrives on New Year's Day, probably after we ring in the new year. Could start off as a little bit of freezing rain, but then it quickly goes over to all rain as temperatures climb up into the 50s once we get to Friday afternoon. So it's a 1-2 punch with rain today, rain on Friday. We sandwich a chilly day with just a few snow showers in on Thursday. The weekend's dry, but not too bright. And then we get the sunshine back Monday and Tuesday.
Well, I got my umbrella. Thank you, Todd. And coming up, Home Depot is recalling nearly 200,000 ceiling fans. Consumer news, what you need to know about the product coming up.
As you head out the door, don't forget to download the Storm Shield app. A big good morning to you in Cumberland, Carmel, and Clayton. All great places to call home. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on this Wednesday right here on WRTV.
Studio at Value City Furniture.
It is 6:24 on our Wednesday. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Megan, Raphael, this is the time where we talk about what is trending at 6. So Raphael, why don't you kick us off?
Oh, yeah.
So on this Wednesday, number one on this set right here in Central Indiana, in my heart, people like Lauren and Megan and Todd and Kelsey, but Gallup has a different list of number ones, and of course they're bigger, so sorry guys. President Trump and former First Lady Michelle Obama have been named this year's most admired man and woman in Gallup's annual poll. They are the number ones across the country. President Trump took the top spot from former President Barack Obama, who topped the list for a dozen years in a row. The two men tied for that honor back in 2019. Now, this is the third year in a row that former First Lady Michelle Obama was named the most admired woman in the country.
Well, Raphael, you are number one to us as well.
Oh, yeah.
Aww.
Yes. Okay, guys, so I'm a big fan of leftovers. My favorite way to heat up leftovers is just putting it in the microwave for 30 seconds, but these people are a little more fancy. There's a new Netflix show that may make you like leftovers if you don't normally take part in those. This all-new reality food competition is coming to the streaming service, and it's called Best Leftovers Ever. In it, amateur chefs compete over 2 rounds of creating new dishes out of their leftovers. The cook with the best dishes goes home with $10,000. The first episode drops on Netflix today, so it may be a little more complicated than what I typically do.
Oh, yeah, but hey, it might be good to watch a little bit of Netflix on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Speaking of it, New York's Times Square is getting ready for New Year's Eve. Coordinators staged a confetti test yesterday ahead of the annual ball drop. But this year, of course, the paper show will touch only a few spectators. Crowds are not allowed in Times Square for this year's event. And there will be some VIP guests there. Those include 2020 heroes, meaning first responders, frontline, and essential workers and their families. Well, definitely well worth it, you know, honoring them. And Todd, it might be a good time to maybe stay inside this New Year's Eve. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, it's going to be chilly. There's not as much going on because of the pandemic, so I think it's a good idea. That's what I'm going to do, just kind of have a low-key New Year's Eve with fire maybe in the fireplace and just watching some movies outside right now. You may want to fire up the fireplace and just stay inside today because it is going to be a wet one. You can see the rain making its way into the area currently across the area, stretching from Peru to about the Zionsville area now down into Greencastle. It should start raining in the metro area here within the next hour or so. As we go throughout the rest of your day, we'll deal with scattered showers here this morning. Becomes more of a steady rain and potentially a little heavier this afternoon, but you notice those temperatures, we will be in the upper 40s, so it is all rain. Once we get to this evening hours, some of the rain showers could switch over to a few snow showers, but if you're going to be out and about, at least here throughout the daytime hours, Megan, definitely have the umbrella handy.
All right, thanks, Todd. I've got my umbrella ready to go. And in consumer news this morning, if you bought a ceiling fan from Home Depot this year, you'll want to listen up right now. The company is recalling almost 200,000 of the fans you see right there on your screen. It's the Mara ceiling fan in matte white, matte black, and black, as well as polished nickel finishes. Here's why. The fan blades can detach while in use. The Florida company that made the fan said it received 47 reports of the blades disconnecting, and people who bought the fan should immediately stop using it and contact the company for a replacement. Raphael?
Now, these numbers are huge. Apple's iPhone is the top-selling tech product of 2020. Here are the numbers. 195 million were sold this year alone. That's a solid jump from 185 million just last year. These projections come from USA Today, and industry experts credit the increase on the number of people who needed to upgrade their tech gear since they're working from home these days. A number of other Apple products also saw a big boost in 2020, including AirPods, the iPad, and the Apple Watch. Now, Samsung's Galaxy smartphone also saw a slight increase. Amazon's Echo did not fare quite as well, seeing a dip in sales this year.
Okay, so we're getting into the end of 2020. You may need an extra jolt of Java to get you into January. Well, Dunkin' has you covered. They are brewing up 3 new blends: Explorer Batch, Midnight, and Extra Charged. Explorer Batch is a medium roast with dark berry notes and a smoky finish. Midnight is described as the brand's darkest roast ever. Extra Charged has 20% more caffeine than Dunkin's regular blends. All 3 of these new coffees are available starting today.
From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It's 6:30 here on your Wednesday morning. Here's a look at your news feed. Anderson firefighters are investigating a large overnight building fire. Witnesses say the West 2nd Street building was fully engulfed when first responders arrived. The Anderson Herald Bulletin reports the building serves as a terminal for local school buses.
A private autopsy report says COVID-19 was a factor in the death of an inmate in Terre Haute. Frederick Whitlock died in the Vigo County Jail back on December the 4th. According to the private autopsy, Whitlock died from asphyxiation after a blood clot in the lungs. The doctor listed COVID-19 as a contributing factor. Following Whitlock's death, The Vigo County Sheriff reported more than 100 coronavirus cases in that county jail.
And a tough night on the court for the blue and gold. The Pacers losing a 17-point third quarter lead to fall to the Celtics 117-111. The loss was the Pacers' first so far this season. Victor Oladipo leading the blue and gold with 24 points. The team hosts Cleveland tomorrow afternoon at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Well, thanks for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey reporting here from Studio A.
Megan Shin, it's WRTV's Storm Mode Alert Day, Raphael.
And good morning from Johnson County. I'm Rafael Sanchez. What can we expect on this Wednesday? Our Todd Clausen is looking at a very active radar, and Todd, take it away. You know best on this Wednesday.
Yeah, the rain already starting to overspread the area. And as soon as the rain starts in your neighborhood, it's going to stick around for most of the day. So if you do have to be out and about, whether it's work, running some errands, you definitely need to have the rain gear. You're going to put that umbrella to work today. As far as where the rain's falling right now, Peru back into Kokomo, into the Logansport area, Monticello, Delphi, some decent rainfall right now. We'll slide a little further to the south. 11 into Danville as we work our way from Boone into Hendricks County. This is approaching the metro area, so within the next 30 minutes, probably expect some raindrops in downtown Indianapolis. For those of you in southern locations, the rain will eventually get to you. While it doesn't get to you as quick here this morning, it lingers later for you into the afternoon hours, and this rain stretches all the way back down into Texas. And it's really this push here in parts of Illinois that comes in this afternoon that's going to give us the heaviest of the rain. But it's all rain. That is the good news. As you look at these temperatures, you see we are in the 30s and 40s. Everybody's above freezing. These temperatures will continue to go up throughout the course of the day today. We should top off near 50 already by the time we get close to the noon hour. We're still in the 40s by 4 p.m. But once we get to this evening hours, the cold air does come quickly back into the picture, and that could result in the rain ending as a few snow showers. We'll talk about that and look ahead to your New Year's Eve forecast as well, Lauren, coming up in just a couple minutes.
All right, and Todd, we did find a traffic camera that has a little bit of rain on it. This is up in the Lebanon area, I-65 and State Road 39. Freezing up a little bit on us here, but you can see the wet roads and the shine there in the headlights as cars drive by this morning. So just use caution as you're traveling out the door this morning and throughout the day as we have that rain moving in. We'll continue to keep you updated on any crashes or delays. Megan.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, the Postal Service's unprecedented volume and worker shortages caused by the pandemic continue to delay deliveries.
And Megan, that means it may be 2021 before some families get their Christmas gifts.
This year has been especially hard for me and many people I know. And it was just a little way to have a little fun and try to show, you're thinking of people.
We first introduced you to Aggie Atkins just last week. At the time, she hoped that the gift she mailed to her family in Massachusetts would make it on time for Christmas. Well, that package is still in limbo. Atkins mailed the package back on December the 10th and even paid extra for the priority shipping. She says that she knows that postal workers are working really hard, but she's frustrated with the lack of transparency.
My issue is not with how hard the postal workers are working. I just wish there maybe was some more transparency or maybe more available information about why this, it's not our first Christmas at the USPS. And I don't know. I know people are working very hard. I know that they're trying their best, but I do feel like there were some changes to the Postal Service this past fall that maybe impeded the efficiency of the holiday season.
Atkins says that she has reached out to the Postal Service in various ways, including through the chat feature on its website. Now, WRTV, working for you, reached out to the post office on her behalf. A postal spokesperson says they're working to correct the issues and investigate the concerns. By the way, those who send parcels through Priority Mail Express are eligible for a postage guarantee if those packages are not delivered.
Raphael, new this morning, 2 federal inmates scheduled for execution next month out in Terre Haute have been removed from isolation. That's according to court filings from the Bureau of Prisons. The Department of Justice previously reported that Dustin Higgs and Corey Johnson had tested positive for the coronavirus. Prison officials say they followed CDC guidelines when clearing the inmates from isolation. Lawyers for both inmates say that medical records from the prison did not accurately summarize the medical symptoms. Johnson is set to be executed on January 14th. Higgs is set for the next day.
Lauren, the city of Indianapolis is taking steps to remove homeless encampments from Monument Circle. In 2 weeks, part of the circle will close to encampments and personal property will be removed. A notice from the city says the encampments around the circle are blocking pedestrian traffic and disrupting business. The IMPD homeless unit says it will provide temporary or permanent housing to anyone living in the area. The Department of Public Works says it will also store items for up to 60 days. They will begin cleaning up the circle on January 12th. You can find more information by clicking on this story in the WRTV app.
Megan, coronavirus cases continue to rise in children across Indiana and the country. Coming up, doctors at Riley Hospital for Children explain what parents should expect in the coming months. Lauren?
And Raphael, local stores look to find the cards to success in this pandemic. So just after the break, we're going to check in with a local game store to find out how they are adapting in order to stay open. The time right now is 6:36 on your Wednesday. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Let's go places.
Welcome back. Now to the latest on COVID-19. Indiana setting another grim record for the virus. The State Department of Health reports 164 new deaths, surpassing the previous record of 143 set last week. More than 7,700 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19 since the pandemic began. 1,925 occurred in December alone. Indiana has also reached 500,000 total cases of the virus. More than 4,000 new cases were reported on Tuesday. Raphael?
Good morning to Tipton, Frankfort, and Danville. This time of year, other respiratory illnesses like RSV and the flu are a cause for concern, especially among children. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with how doctors are dealing with those illnesses in the age of COVID-19. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So here at Riley Hospital for Children, as of yesterday, they have no confirmed cases of the flu or RSV, which is very uncommon for this time of year. So we spoke with Dr. John Christensen with Riley Hospital for Children, and he says that's thanks in part to masks, social distancing, and hand washing. While this mirrors what was seen in the Southern Hemisphere, the medical director of infection prevention says it's very unusual to not see any cases of RSV by this point in the season, as well for flu cases.
We have kept records of our respiratory viruses here for over 20 years, and it's very unusual not to have seen RSV by now. RSV usually shows up in October, November. It usually peaks in December, January, and we still have not seen any.
Dr. Christensen says Riley is seeing a record number of coronavirus and multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children admissions. MISC is the rare Kawasaki-like illness found in children, and Dr. Christensen says the numbers, quote, have blossomed here at Riley Hospital. So there are now 21 confirmed cases of MISC at Riley, with 3 to 4 more currently under review. And he's urging parents to stay vigilant and looking for those signs of those severe signs and symptoms of these respiratory illnesses. And he says getting help as soon as you think things are too severe. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. Playing the right game at the right time. This week, we're checking back in with local businesses that we featured in our We're Open Indy series throughout this year. You may remember Moonshot Games. They had to get really creative in order to reopen and bounce back during this pandemic. We first got to know the Noblesville Game Store in May. The space was originally set up to house dozens of gamers at tables. Of course, COVID-19 changed all of that, so we checked back in with them this month. Moonshot Games owner Jason Manship says that he and his team took this challenge as an opportunity to adapt and evolve and possibly capitalize on the changing situation.
Board games and puzzles have been really hot this year. So we're kind of blessed to have the right product at the right time, right? Even though COVID sucks for everyone, it's something that's interesting in that people are staying home and they're spending more time around their dinner table playing games with their family. They're many times in isolation and wanting something to do that's not just watch TV, and so they're doing more puzzles.
Well, the company has been able to expand its customer base this year in a different way with toys. Manship says that he plans on establishing a toy store near his game shop in downtown Noblesville.
I'll have to make a trip there. Thanks,
Yes.
Lauren. The pandemic has caused a whole host of problems, including an outbreak of a once eradicated disease. Still ahead, I talk with doctors to see why the coronavirus pandemic could be behind a surge in measles cases.
And Megan, today is one of those days that it's an alert day and you're going to have to carry the umbrella with you throughout all the day parts. You need it this morning, you'll need it this afternoon, this evening as well, as the rain already is starting to make its way into central Indiana, and there's plenty more to come. We'll break it all down for you coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast.
Galleries, live life comfortably.
Welcome back. So we are working for you with a big traffic reminder this morning. Starting on Saturday, State Road 37 through Martinsville is scheduled to close for most of 2021. The closure will stretch from State Road 39 on the south end of town to Morgan Street north of State Road 44. A new access road is open in the area to help you out. This connects New Harmony Road at Cragen Road with Centennial and Egbert Roads. Now, the detour to get you around this closure is quite lengthy, so you'll need to plan way ahead. Give yourself plenty of extra time if that's part of your commute. Drivers will follow State Road 39 through Martinsville all the way over to State Road 67, head north there, and then you'll cut back over to State Road 37 by using State Road 144 through Mooresville. And if you're heading southbound, you'll take that through the opposite direction, but plan ahead for that. That is going to be a long-term closure, you guys.
Lauren, thank you for being our guide on that construction zone. Here's another health concern. This morning, Megan, measles cases are on the rise, even though, right, the disease was declared eliminated in the country back in the year 2000.
Raphael, that's right. And last year, more than 1,200 cases were reported across the country. So I went in search for the reasons behind the resurgence.
Did you ever picture a resurgence or a spike in measles like we're seeing now when you heard about coronavirus?
As those of us in infectious disease, that was the first thing we thought about.
Dr. John Chandy is a pediatrician and infectious disease physician at IU's School of Medicine, and he wants to warn Hoosiers about the growing danger of measles.
It's actually more contagious than COVID. Measles is very contagious.
Even though it's contagious,
It can kill children and still does, many thousands of children worldwide, so it could be a terrible disease.
catching it is preventable with the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. But Dr. John says with the pandemic,
Rates of vaccination have gone way down.
because people are worried about catching coronavirus at the doctor's office.
Your risk of COVID going to a doctor's office is low, so get your kids immunized. That's number one, by far the most important thing I can say.
He predicts measles will spread quickly when COVID travel restrictions are lifted.
Then we have a real risk for a kind of measles wildfire.
Dr. John says he knows some people question vaccinations.
And it's our work as pediatricians to let them know the facts about it, that it's safe, and that if they don't vaccinate, they put not only their child, but a lot of other children at risk.
His message is an effort to avoid reverse situations he's seen overseas, where people don't have access to a vaccine and face a measles outbreak.
In places where people know that it's bad, they're fighting to get vaccinated. And we just need to have that same thing here, like get in, get vaccinated.
And so you know measles is spread through contact with throat or nose droplets when people sneeze or cough. Signs of measles include a whole body rash like you saw, fever, pink eye, and a runny nose. And time now is 6:47, and taking a look at that storm team alert with Todd Clausen. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, rain's heading our way, Megan. Quite a bit of it here throughout the day today. Not falling in downtown Indianapolis, as you can see here, as you look from IMS towards downtown. But pretty soon, within the next 30 minutes or so, I am expecting some raindrops in downtown Indy. 38 feels like 33. The wind not super strong right now, but the wind will get gusty later on this afternoon. But everybody's above freezing now all across the area. We're in the 30s and 40s. So as this storm system moves through, it is going to be a rain event for us with just a little bit of snow maybe on the backside of it, but we're not talking about much of anything in the way of snow accumulation. Here's the rain currently falling. Pretty good band of rain from Peru just north of Frankfort. This is going to be pushing towards Rocheville into the Kokomo area and eventually Tipton here this morning. Lafayette, some light rain will slide down further to the south. Some light showers in Greencastle, Danville, and Brownsburg over towards Traders Point now as well. and that's going to be pushing here into the metro area within, again, the next 30 minutes or so. And this rain extends all the way back down into Texas. And this batch of rain that's a little more heavy, a little more solid, and moving now into southern Missouri, that's what's going to lift through later on this afternoon. So this morning, the showers, they're probably still going to be a little more on the scattered variety. But once we get into the afternoon hours, as you see here on TrueCast, that's when we start to get into these darker greens, the yellows, and that's the heavier rainfall that'll move through. I would say between 10 a.m. and about 3 p.m. is when the rain's going to be the heaviest and the most steady across the area. As we get into the 4 or 5 o'clock hour, you notice a little bit of mixing trying to take place, but it's still mainly rain for most of us. And as far as this mixing takes place and some snow, you have to remember, we're climbing all the way up into the 40s and 50s here throughout the day today. So it's going to be a warmer day. There's going to be a lot of rain this afternoon. And so any snow that hits the ground will melt away. There could be some minor accumulation on grassy areas, but that too will probably be a half an inch to maybe a quick coating, and that is just about it. Rainfall totals, though, likely over an inch here in southern locales, anywhere between a half an inch and an inch in the metro area, and then a little bit less as you work your way to the north, where you'll run out of the rain a little bit quicker throughout the course of the day. Now, I want to point out this evening, temperatures will cool off very quickly. That's when we had that transition over to some snow showers. Tomorrow morning, there likely won't be any precipitation falling from the clouds. But look at these temperatures. We're in the mid-20s. A lot of rain's going to fall today. The ground's going to be wet. Temperatures go below freezing. And you know what that means. Tomorrow morning, there definitely could be some slick spots across the area with refreezing, nothing falling from the sky. So just watch out if you do have to be out early tomorrow morning. Temperatures eventually get above freezing with mostly cloudy skies for your New Year's Eve. As we ring in the new year, as we get closer to the midnight hour, temperatures will be in the 30s. There'll be a little chance of some precipitation as we get towards midnight. A better chance of rain comes in after midnight, and that'll lead to a very wet New Year's Day for us. In fact, as some of that precipitation comes in 4 or 5 o'clock Friday morning, could start off as a little bit of freezing rain, but it quickly goes over to just all rain for us as temperatures surge up into the 50s on Friday. But Friday's another day where we have a pretty soaking rain all across the area. When you take the rain from today and you add the rain that's coming on Friday, you're looking at potentially over 2 inches of rain and maybe over 3 inches of rain in some areas, and that could lead to some localized flooding. Saturday beyond, though, an opportunity to dry out with temperatures for the first week of January that'll actually be running above normal. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We do have one crash to show you right now. This is over on the west side. You're looking at it in the flashing lights from our tower camera here pointed to the west. It's on the westbound lanes of Holt Road, or I-70 here at Holt Road, and it's slowing down ramp traffic. So just be aware of that if you're heading away from downtown, heading towards the west side, and you need to use the ramp there at Holt Road. You may want to pay attention, slow way down, and we'll keep you updated if this slows down traffic anymore this morning. Raphael?
Keep us posted on that, Lauren. Thank you so much. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are sharing a fun end-of-year surprise on their new podcast. Coming up on Good Morning America in just a few moments right here on WRTV, we hear their son Archie's first public words. But first, a look at the day's top stories when we come back right here on WRTV.
.com.
Welcome back. It is 6:55 here on your Wednesday.
And Lauren, our good friend, meteorologist Todd Clausen, will have the latest on a wet Wednesday coming up in just a few moments.
But first, today's top stories. Investigators say a man arrested in Bloomington is believed to be the suspect in an Arizona cold case and 2 kidnappings. All 3 happened in 2000. Investigators tell WRTV the suspect, who is an alleged sex offender, potentially has more victims. The 53-year-old was arrested on October 28th while on a business trip in Bloomington. You can read more on this story by downloading the WRTV app and clicking on this story. Raphael?
This morning, an Indianapolis family, Megan, is asking for information, asking for your help more than a year after the death of a 6-month-old girl. Derasia Hill died a year ago just this week. The coroner found that she suffered multiple blunt force injuries and ruled her death a homicide. No arrests have been made in this case. If you have any information about this investigation, you're being asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Well, this year we know New Year's Eve celebrations are going to look a little bit different, and now the Marion County Health Department has put out its own COVID-19 guidelines for the holiday. No new curfews are being imposed for New Year's Eve, but all restaurants, bars, and establishments providing in-person food and drinks must close indoor dining and drink service and clear out customers between midnight and 5 a.m. Carryout will still be allowed. But before we get to the holiday, we got to talk about today, and it's all about the weather, Todd.
Yeah, the alert day for us here across central Indiana. Rain's making its way into the area right now. You could see from Peru, the Lafayette, down towards Zionsville, back to Terre Haute. The rain is starting to make its way into the area. This will continue throughout much of the day. It's pretty much, once the rain starts in your neighborhood, going to be a steady rain, with the heaviest of the rain being late morning into the early afternoon hours. It ends as a few snow showers early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, there could be some slick spots with refreezing, and then another round of a ½ an inch to an inch of rain on New Year's Day, with temperatures in the low 50s.
And we're back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America with news, weather, and traffic updates.
And remember, all your news can be found throughout the day on the WRTV mobile app. Thanks for joining us.